Okay, so this tutorial is going to look at how to make cascading combo boxes or interdependent combo boxes. The most common application that I could think of this would be a city-state selector, where you choose a state, and then in the second combo box, you will then only have the cities within that state. That way you can't have a mismatch between state and city. So to do this, you need to create two tables. So first, create table, go to design view. Let's call this state underscore TBL. And we're going to change this to a short text. We will keep it as a primary key. And this is going to be state underscore name. Save that. And now let's put in some values. So RI, MA, PA. Okay, so that's our state table. Now let's create a new one. And this design, again, view and then design, we'll call this city TBL. Now let's keep it consistent. We'll use a lowercase. This one we won't need the primary key. We'll change this to short text, and this field will be city underscore name. But to create a linkage, what we need is we need the corresponding state. So this will be state underscore name, but just naming it the same thing means nothing. You can use the same field multiple times in different tables. That alone doesn't create the linkage. We'll get into that in a minute. So for data type, we're going to do lookup wizard. I want the lookup field to get the values from another table. That's exactly what we want. So click on next. We're going to go to state table because that's where we want to pull these from. Next. Move that over. Next. Next. Finish. Okay. So there is now a linkage between the two because of that. Because we're actually saying this field is actually coming from this table. So now we've created that linkage. So now what we want to do is if we go back to our state table, if we go back to the view of the city table rather than the design, okay, we can now start putting in names. Providence. When we come to state name, you can't manually type it in, you have to select, so RI. So even though it doesn't save you much time with typing, at least you can eliminate the human error of typing a state that doesn't exist, like typing in FA instead of FL for Florida, things like that. People can still accidentally select the wrong name, so it doesn't take care of that issue, but at least you don't have to worry about the typing issue. So let's do and this will also be RI. So 2 for Rhode Island. Three for Massachusetts. And just 1 for Pennsylvania. So just so you have a different amount. Okay, so we have our city, we have our state. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the database tools. We're going to go to relationships, and we're going to create a relationship. So city table, state table, and as you can see, that linkage appeared because of the lookup. So that really already exists. So we're going to close out and we save. Now what we're going to do is we need to create a form to actually utilize this data. So create blank form. Let's make the kind of changes that I like to see whenever I'm doing one of these tutorials. So I'm going to go to Design, going to go to Property Sheet, going to go to Format. We're going to change border style to thin, change record selector to no, and change navigation button to no. It just makes for a cleaner window that we're looking at. You don't have to worry about people breaking the functionality in unintentional ways. So in this form, we need to assign a table. So as you can, or a data source, I should say. So as you can see, there's a dot up there. So we're going to go to data. We're going to choose record source, and we want it to be the state table. So now we create our combo box. You have three options. If you don't have the linked table, you only have two options. So if you only have two options, it means you probably didn't link something for the form. So I want the combo box to get the values from another table or query. I will type in the values I want, find a record on my form based on the values I select. This is what you want to do because you want to make a change. You want to, whenever you change that, you want it to change the other. You want to change the other combo box. So so next, state name, next, that's fine, next, that's fine, finish. Just move that there. Okay, so now what we need is we need a second combo box. So we'll click on that, put that there. And for this one, we're going to have it be slightly different than the other one because basically, even though we're going to say yes to a few of these things, we're going to go in and manually change it. But it's easy enough just to next our way through because we're in the wizard. So we'll do next. We'll leave it a city table. Next, we want only the city name to show. Next, next. Increase that a little bit. Next. And remember the value for later use. Next. And then finish. Now, what you're going to see is this isn't going to work yet. So let's save the form. We'll call this data entry because you're probably never going to have a form that just has a city and state. That really doesn't do anything for you unless you're specifically using as a reference. In other words, I don't know what state that city is in, or I don't know what options I have in that state for cities. So I suppose technically as a reference, you could have a city-state selector, but more than likely it's going to be part of a larger form, like you're trying to create a customer complaint form. And so you're putting in the city and the state of the customer, that kind of thing. So as I said, you're going to see that this won't work. So we click on state name, we choose Mass, click on city name, and they're all here. Okay, so that's not what we want. What we want to do, and actually for some reason 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why did it only show 1, 2, 3, 4? Which one is it missing? Providence, Boston, Mansfield. It's missing. PA is missing for some reason. Let's just close these tables. Sometimes access can be a little weird. I'm going to close this as well. Let's go back in. So data entry. And they're all there now. So it was just an update issue. So it's important not to think you have to scrap an entire project. You sometimes just want to close things out to make sure everything is updated. Okay, so as we said, choosing a state is not making any difference here. Everything is showing. So it's still not working. So the main thing that's happening is you're clicking on this, but this isn't getting requeried. This isn't getting updated. So if we click on this and we go to event, see how there's an updated after update? So let's click on this and we're going to modify the macro. So we want to requery. So requery, and what do we want to requery? We want to requery that combo. I think it's probably combo number 4. Let's close, let's save, and let's make sure. Format, all. Yes, this is combo number 4. So what we did, this is a review, we went into the event, and that when this drop down gets updated, it requeries for combo number 4, which is this. So let's try it now. Okay, still not working, so there's still something we did not do. So what did we miss then? Well, what we did is, although in here we said, okay, when you choose this, requery this, we're still not taking this and considering what's up here. As I said, when we're creating this combo box, we're going to have to change some of the defaults. So if you click on this and you click on row source, that is the data that's flowing into this combo box, you can see it's just the city name. So it's just, okay, bring up all cities. It's not doing any condition. So this, despite everything else we did, yes, we created a linkage between the two states. That creates a linkage between the tables. But this combo box is merely one way of expressing information from that table. And it does not take the state name into consideration. So what we want is we want the city name. So we want build. So we're city name. So what we want to do is we want the corresponding state name. So table. Okay. So where the state name from this table, so this is the city table. So what we're saying is we want the corresponding state name to be equal. So we're taking a value from a table and we want it to match the combo box. So we'll go into the form, we'll go into combo 2, and that should do it. So you're saying the city name where the corresponding state name, so the city name with the corresponding state name is equal to the combo on this form. So click on OK, we save, we close, we run. So now we choose Massachusetts, and there you go. Choose Pennsylvania, there you go. Choose Rhode Island, there you go. So it's a little bit more complicated than what you would think on the surface, and it's important that you create all those linkages. So you're linking the state table to the city table through the state field, okay? Then when the drop-down box, you need to make sure that you're telling the form to requery after you make a selection. And then in this one, you have to have the row source be, let's make sure I get this right. So the row source can't just be the city name. It has to be where the corresponding state name for the selected city name matches the state. So in other words, you're backing into this. You're backing into the city names because you're saying, okay, a state was selected, so go to the state field, find all the states in this table that match what's been selected from the combo box. So that's why it's so important that at the very beginning we linked the two tables through the state, because that's the constant. That's what links everything together. So I think that should about do it. It wasn't quite as clean as I hoped, because it is a little bit of a messy process because you kind of have to dig into a few places. But now that you know how to do it, it's very powerful. And that should do it for this video.